The story of hospice care is ever evolving, and it's no longer just about making an ill person comfortable in their final days. It is much more comprehensive. Yet only half of the people who could benefit from hospice care actually take advantage of the services. My next guest is working to change that perception. Cindi Barrick joins me from Hospice of Central Ohio. Cindi, nice to have you here.
Thank you, Gail. Thanks for having us today.
Hospice has changed, I would say, in the last decade, even more so than before. What changes have you seen in hospice programs?
Well, certainly more folks are taking advantage of the opportunity to have hospice, but as you mentioned, there's still about 50% of the eligible patients that we believe are out there that are not having the ability to get hospice services. One of the things that we see as a new service that may change that is what we call open access. It's a program that allows patients to continue treatments and therapies and not make a choice to give those up in order to have hospice services. So no matter what the complexity is of that care, as long as it is not designed to cure their illness, they can still take advantage of having hospice services and continuing those treatments and therapies.
So you probably find people afraid to call, afraid to make that first call.
Yes.
I'm not ready, my family member's not ready, it's too soon, not really knowing when to call.
Absolutely. That is a big thing. When is the right time to call? Certainly someone who has a life-limiting illness that's starting to experience signs that that disease is progressing. It may be that they have an increase in pain, more shortness of breath, or maybe simple daily functions like being able to get up out of bed without assistance. Now they require someone to help them. Some of those things are indicators that it may be time to call us, and we help figure that out. We'll talk to the patient's doctor, and together we will put that piece together as to whether or not they are eligible for hospice.
And what are some of the advantages to calling early and maybe putting things in place early?
Well, certainly getting those services in place is going to benefit not only the patient from a symptom perspective, but we're also there to support them through the emotional and spiritual side of that care too. We look at our patients holistically, but beyond that, we're also there to support the families, and they are also experiencing a great loss throughout this whole process. So by having the team in place, we can provide that support to both the patient and the families.
It's interesting you bring up that emotional and spiritual side, because I think most people do associate hospice with physical comforts. But do you think that most hospice, I know you do at Central Ohio Hospice, provide that other component of the care of hospice?
Yes, we do. By, again, having that team piece involved, we have that social worker, we have a chaplain as part of the team. We're also providing an aide that gives that daily care that's going to come in and assist that family member who's exhausted from that day in and day out care, helping to give the patient a bath, helping get them up out of bed into the chair, teaching the family how to make the bed. So we're there to support them in all those aspects, but we're also teaching and building confidence in the caregivers too, so that they know what to do when we're not there. And that's a very important
because these
piece.
Folks are not trained.
They're not.
They want to help
healthcare professionals
and take care of their. But right, there is something called palliative care that is sort of dovetails with hospice. I really am not sure I understand what it means or how it can help families, but I do know that it's a component. Can you explain?
Certainly. Palliative care is a component that is really in place sooner than what hospice is. It is still folks that have a life-limiting illness. It may be a chronic illness. Let me give you an example. Something like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, where they're having difficulty breathing, or congestive heart failure, where they're back in and out of the hospital. Palliative care will work with the patient's doctors that are involved and collaborate on those services, but the goal is to help provide a means to manage those symptoms and yet keep that patient at home. Most folks don't want to go back to the hospital, and with palliative care in particular, we have an in-home community palliative care program. We are able to provide that link, helping keep them at home.
You are based in Licking County, but you want to make sure that everyone realizes that your services are not limited to Licking County.
Yes, thank you. We have 8 counties that we cover, Franklin being a large portion. We are also in Fairfield, Muskingum, Delaware, Perry, Hocking, and Coshocton counties.
Well, Cindi, it's been a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for sharing and educating us on the many aspects of hospice.
Thank you so much, Gail.